Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a topic that plays a huge role in global trade but can be a bit confusing: tariffs. You might have heard about them on the news, but what exactly are they? How do they work, and why are they important? And most importantly, how do they affect you? Whether you're a shopper, a business owner, or someone curious about how international trade affects our daily lives, this video will break it down in simple terms. Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. A tariff is essentially a tax that a government places on goods imported into the country. So, when products are brought into the U.S. from other countries, the government can impose a fee on those products. This fee is called a customs duty, but most people simply call it a tariff. For example, let's say you're buying a smartphone that was made in China. When it comes into the U.S. government might charge a tariff on that phone. Let's say the phone costs $500, and the tariff is 10%. That means the phone will now cost an extra $50 in tariff taxes. So instead of paying $500, you'd end up paying $550. This extra cost is added because the government wants to tax the imported product. Now that we know what tariffs are, let's look at how they actually work. Here's the basic process. Importing goods. When goods are shipped from one country to another, they first arrive at a port or airport. For example, let's say a company in the U.S. is importing coffee from Brazil. Customs check. Once the goods arrive in the U.S., customs officers at the port inspect the products to ensure they're legal and meet safety standards. They also check to make sure the right amount of tax, tariff, is paid. The government makes sure that everything follows the rules. Paying the tariff. After customs clears the goods, the importer, the person or company bringing in the goods, has to pay the tariff. If the tariff on that coffee is 15%, the company importing the coffee would pay 15% of the value of the goods in taxes. Distribution. Once the tariff is paid, the goods are allowed to enter the country, and the company can sell them to consumers. Now you might be wondering, why do governments charge tariffs in the first place? There are a few key reasons. Protecting local industries. One of the main reasons countries impose tariffs is to protect their local businesses and industries. Let's say that a country can produce shoes at a lower cost than another country because they pay their workers less. If the country lets in shoes from the cheaper market without a tariff, local shoe companies might go out of business because they can't compete with the low prices. By adding a tariff, the government makes the imported shoes more expensive, which helps local businesses stay competitive. Example: imagine a small shoe manufacturer in the U.S. who can make shoes, but the shoes from abroad are cheaper because the labor is cheaper. The government places a 20% tariff on foreign shoes, which raises their price, so consumers are more likely to buy shoes made in the USA. Raising revenue. Tariffs are also a way for governments to raise money. The funds collected from tariffs go into the country's treasury, which helps pay for government services, such as education, healthcare, or infrastructure projects like building roads and bridges. Example: the U.S. government can use the revenue from tariffs to fund public projects like improving schools or maintaining national parks. Promoting fair trade. Sometimes tariffs are used to create a fairer trade environment between countries. For example, if one country is selling goods at a price much lower than it costs to produce them, a practice called dumping, a government might impose tariffs to make those goods more expensive. This prevents unfair competition and ensures that products are priced fairly. Example: if China is selling steel at a price much lower than it costs to make it, companies in the U.S. can't compete. The U.S. might impose a tariff to raise the price of Chinese steel, helping American steel manufacturers. Tariffs can have several effects, both positive and negative. Higher prices for consumers. When tariffs are imposed, it often results in higher prices for the products consumers buy. If a company is importing goods and faces tariffs, they usually pass those extra costs onto the customers. So, the price of items like electronics, clothing, or food might go up. This means consumers pay more for things they buy every day. Example: if there's a 25% tariff on imported cars, the price of a foreign car might go up significantly. You might end up paying $5,000 more for the car than you would have without the tariff. Encouraging local production. On the flip side, tariffs can help encourage local production. If foreign goods are more expensive because of tariffs, people might start buying products made in their own country. This helps local businesses and can create jobs. Example: a 10% tariff on imported electronics could lead to more people buying electronics made in the US, supporting American electronics manufacturers. Trade wars. However, tariffs can also lead to trade wars. A trade war happens when one country imposes tariffs on another, and the other country responds by imposing tariffs in return. This can lead to a cycle of increasing tariffs that makes products more expensive and damages trade relations between countries. Example: in 2018, the US and China engaged in a trade war, with both countries imposing tariffs on each other's goods. This led to higher prices for many items and strained trade relations. Tariffs can affect you in several ways. For example, increased costs for consumers. If you're someone who likes to buy electronics or clothes from abroad, tariffs could increase the price of those items. You might notice that your favorite imported brands become more expensive. Job creation in local industries. Tariffs on imported goods can create jobs in local industries. If the government imposes a tariff on foreign-made cars, for instance, more people might buy cars made in the US, which could result in more jobs in American car manufacturing. Global trade effects. Countries around the world depend on each other for goods and services. Tariffs can make products from other countries more expensive, which could affect everything from the availability of cheap goods to the cost of living. As the world becomes more connected through globalization, tariffs are also evolving. Many countries are seeing changes in how tariffs apply to digital goods like software, online services, or even data. With digital products becoming more common, governments might begin imposing tariffs on things like video streaming services, apps, or even cloud storage. In fact, some countries are already exploring how to apply tariffs on digital services to help control data flow and protect local industries. Example: imagine a popular online streaming service. If that service comes from another country, the government might impose a tariff on it to ensure that local entertainment businesses are supported. In the future, we may see more tariffs that focus not just on physical goods, but on digital goods and services as well, making it a new area of focus for trade and economics. Tariffs are not set in stone, and they can often be avoided through free trade agreements. These agreements between countries reduce or eliminate tariffs on certain products to encourage trade and cooperation. One of the best-known agreements is the USMCA, formerly NAFTA, which eliminated many tariffs between the US, Canada, and Mexico. Example: thanks to the USMCA, many goods traded between these countries no longer face high tariffs. This allows companies to sell their products at lower prices and benefits consumers with better access to affordable goods. Lastly, tariffs play a huge role in the global economy. They're not just a tool for governments, they also shape how countries interact with each other. If one country imposes high tariffs, it can affect the balance of trade and create tensions that lead to changes in how products and services are exchanged across the globe. As we've seen, tariffs can affect prices, job markets, and international relations. The choices countries make about tariffs are part of a larger conversation on how to keep the global economy running smoothly while also protecting local industries. To sum it up, tariffs are taxes on imported goods that help protect local industries, raise government revenue, and promote fair trade. They can lead to higher prices for consumers, but they can also create jobs and support local businesses. However, it's important to remember that if tariffs are set too high, it can lead to higher costs for consumers, reduce consumer spending, and even result in a decline in jobs in industries that rely on global trade. It's essential for governments to find a balance when setting tariffs to avoid negatively affecting the economy and global trade. Understanding tariffs helps us realize how global trade works and how it affects us as consumers, businesses, and citizens. We must be cautious, as too many barriers to trade can harm both local economies and international relations. I hope this video has helped you understand what tariffs are, how they work, and why they matter. If you have any additional thoughts or comments on tariffs, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you found this information useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.